Hey guys, Craig here, product manager at Broker Engine. I wanted to walk you through how we would manage lender rebates inside of my practice. And what we would do in my practice is we would use what we call a deal indicator. So we've got a deal indicator here called lender rebate. And when that is selected, you can then automate whatever it is you want to happen. So for example, what I would do in my practice is as part of my pre-submission checklist, I want to make sure that my team have applied for it. So by checking the deal indicator lender rebate, you'll see there is a note here that explains or requires the team to actually complete that they've made a note to the lender that a rebate is required. Now that will only show in there if the lender rebate's actually approved, and you have control over that. So you can see it's just disappeared now. I'll add it back and now it's there. Now that comes out of the box inside a Broker Engine, and what we do is we do it for the pre-submission checklist. And normally some might call me overly cautious, but I'd also have the team double check that on formal approval as well. So you can see here that lender rebate's checked, it's got ensure rebate's been approved. If I uncheck that, that one actually disappears. So you can see how you'd use those for other deal indicators like fast refis and so on. But particular to lender rebate, I like to make sure that we've applied for it, and I like to make sure that it's also been approved. And then what I want to do, and I want to show you how those got into the checklist. So you can control the checklist. Out of the box, you get a default set that we provide, but it's very simple. So you can have whatever sections you want in your checklist. So you might want to add in a different one or change the names or delete some of these if you think they're an overkill. And then inside of each of those checklist sections, you would have your items. And so, for example, here is the pre-submission checklist. There's quite a few things there. You would have noticed there's only 3 or 4 actually showing. And that's because things like the rate lock are only showing when the deal indicator rate lock is selected or rate lock is on the loan split as an example. But for the lender rebate, we're looking at this one here. This one here for ensure lender submission notes requests that lender rebates to be applied. So that's the one you would have seen in the pre-submission checklist I showed you. And in this case, it's showing checklist display criteria. It's showing when there is a deal indicator. So you can see how you as the user have a lot of power there to really automate your processes and sort of select when things apply and don't apply to make sure that your team are not checking things that don't need to be checked. So that's how we would manage it in the checklist. And I'm going to show you now quickly that on submission, there would be an email with an advice that comes out. I'm going to show you that advice now, actually, I've prepared one before. So here's a loan submission advice. And because there is a deal indicator selected for lender rebate, the advice actually notes in there to the client. So this would go to the client, just explaining we submitted your loan. Here's just to confirm the current details and a couple of extra items that pop in there. For example, outgoing lender fees is in there because it's a refinance, and lender rebate is in there because we've got the lender rebate indicator selected. So not only are we making sure we've applied for it, we're also making sure we advertise that to the client so they don't think these things are happening by accident. So we'll do that at submission, we'll do it at formal, we'll check that it's approved at formal, and again, provide the client with an advice that we have to check that it's been approved. And the last thing I want to manage is I want to make sure that on settlement, that we actually follow up 45 days or so after settlement. And so what I've got here is I've just built this very quickly before. I built this workflow here very quickly, it took me about 30 seconds, gave it a name called 14 lender rebate. I chose that I want it to trigger when the deal moves into stage settlement. And I then chose that I only want it to trigger though if there's actually an indicator lender rebate is selected. So in this case, I'd have to move into 14 and there must be an indicator lender rebate. No indicator, the workflow will stop triggering. You can then sort of decide whether you want it to apply for everyone in your group or just for yourself or another broker group. I then did a delay, and all I did here was add in a delay. So delay, wait 45 days, and then I set myself a task here. So here's a task, and that task was just simply, make sure the rebate's been paid, and I then just spout out very quickly. The steps that the team would follow. And what I'd also do is in all of my task templates, I always have a little video typically so that the team, if it's a new team member, it gives them an introduction to what a lender rebate is and also what they're supposed to do with this particular task. So you can see I just make a very quick task, put it as high priority, click save, and now what you've got is a delay, a task. When the team marks that as complete, there'll then be an email. And the email build is very easy to build, so it's just give it a name, who's it to, lender rebate paid, and then again, you can just sort of build your email out very quickly with your relevant mail merge fields. That's how I would manage lender rebates. That's how I manage lender rebates at the moment. Everything I've shown you there actually comes out of the box. I was just building it out of the box, so you don't need to build that for yourself. along with many other little workflows, checklist items based on fast rebates and things like that. But that's just a really good demonstration of what you can do and the power what you can achieve with Broker Engine with many different metrics and different data points. Craig here, product manager at Broker Engine. If you're interested in a demo, brokerengine.com.au.